Hello friends, how are you? Today we will start a molecular orbital theory, that is MOT, molecular orbital theory. MOT. Remember, molecular orbital theory is another way to explain how there is a formation of covalent bond. And here also there is an explanation of that is the formation of covalent bond. Formation of covalent bond. On the basis of valence bond theory, we can explain how there is a formation of covalent bond. What are the assumptions of valence bond theory? At least two atomic orbitals are required to form covalent bond. At least two atomic orbitals with unpaired electrons with anti-parallel spin with comparable energy are required to form covalent bond. Anti-parallel spin and like this. And electron spin should be anti-parallel opposite. So here it is a plus half, it is a minus half. And a plus half is the spin quantum number of this electron, minus half is the spin quantum number of this electron. And there should be electron spin neutralization. Then and then only formation of bond. What is another assumption of valence bond theory? Already we have seen what is assumption number one. Assumption number one in case of valence bond theory. Here VBT, valence bond theory, assumption number one. Here two atomic orbitals with unpaired electrons. Electron spin should be anti-parallel. Anti-parallel spin with the same energy or nearly same. This is the first assumption, and here two atomic orbitals are required. To clap, how many hands are required? Two. Suppose this is one atomic orbital, this is another atomic orbital. When there is an overlapping of these two atomic orbitals, formation of covalent bond. But for this effective overlapping, electron spin should be anti-parallel. If electron spin is a parallel like this, plus half, there is a repulsion between these two. And a bond formation is not there. When electron spin is anti-parallel, then formation of bond. What is another assumption that is about bond energy? Bond energy. And whatever energy released when electron spin is neutralized, that energy is said to be bond energy here. And energy released when electron spin is neutralized, this energy is said to be bond energy. Number third, strength of covalent bond. Strength of covalent bond. Remember, strength of covalent bond depends on effective overlapping, extent of overlapping. If area of overlapping is more, bond will be strong. Vice versa. See here, effective overlapping, when head-to-head overlapping is there, so this overlapping is said to be effective overlapping. And area of overlapping must be more. And when p atomic orbitals are perpendicular like this, here area of overlapping is very less. And this is a pi bond, and a pi bond is weaker than sigma bond. Then head-to-head overlapping, formation of sigma bond. When sidewise or lateral overlapping, formation of pi bond. Yani strength of bond depends on extent of overlapping. Greater the overlapping, stronger will be the bond, and vice versa. Next, number of covalent bonds. Number of covalent bonds. Remember, number of covalent bonds depends on number of electron pairs present between two electronegative atoms. For this, I will take nitrogen. Atomic number of nitrogen is 7. Electronic distribution 2, 5. And valency shell electrons are 5. Here 5 valency shell electrons in first nitrogen, second nitrogen, like this. For first nitrogen atom, 3 electrons are required to complete octet. Exactly same in case of second nitrogen. So here equal sharing of electrons, 3 electrons of first nitrogen, 3 electrons of second nitrogen. So this is the last shell of this nitrogen. The structure is said to be Lewis structure. In case of second nitrogen, this will be the last shell. So this is the common region, electron cloud. How many pairs are there? 1, 2, 3. And 3 bonds. And number of bonds depends on number of covalent bonds depends on number of electron pairs in electron cloud. This region is also known as electron cloud. This is the common region. Next and last, that is orientation of atomic orbitals. Actually, orientation of bonds. Remember, when there is overlapping between atomic orbitals, and after formation of bond, orientation of atomic orbitals in available space, such a way that to minimize interaction. I will take ammonia for this. Here 3 bond pairs and there is a 1 lone pair. And the orientation of these 3 bonds such a way that to minimize interaction between these two. On the basis of valence shell electron pair repulsion theory, we know that here it is a lone pair. Here this repulsion is said to be lone pair bond pair repulsion. From this side also it is lone pair bond pair repulsion. Here it is bond pair. So orientation of these bonds after effective overlapping such a way that to minimize or to neutralize interaction between bonds. So this is a valence bond theory already we have seen. Any 2 atomic orbitals are required with unpaired electrons with antiparallel spin with comparable energy. Effective overlapping is required and strength of bond. Whatever energy gets released when electron spin is neutralized, that energy is said to be bond energy. Number of covalent bonds depends on number of electron pairs in electron crowd in common region, and then orientation of bonds to avoid interaction. This is the valence bond theory. But remember, few drawbacks are there. On the basis of valence bond theory, we cannot explain correct geometry of molecule. This is the drawback. On the basis of valence bond theory, oxygen is diamagnetic. But remember, actually oxygen is a paramagnetic. And on the basis of valence bond theory, we cannot explain the formation of some species like H2 plus, He2 plus, N2 plus, etc. We cannot explain. These species does exist, but there is no information about these species in valence bond theory. There is no correct information about geometry and shape of molecule. So that is why there is a molecular orbital theory. What are the assumptions of molecular orbital theory? Remember, in case of valence bond theory, we used overlapping of atomic orbitals. Here, new terminology we have to use, that is a linear combination of atomic orbitals. Here, linear combination of atomic orbitals. This terminology we have to use. We know that atom has a dual character. What is that? Particle as well as wave. Particle as well as wave. Dual character, dual nature. In molecular orbital theory, we have to consider wave nature of an atom and a wave function of an atom. linear combination of atomic orbitals. What is the condition for a linear combination of atomic orbitals? Again, comparable energy and symmetry. And a condition for this, comparable energy and symmetry. Comparable energy and symmetry. This is the main condition for linear combination of atomic orbitals. So remember, molecular orbital theory is another way to explain how there is the formation of covalent bond. But in molecular orbital theory, wave nature of atom has been considered. So there is a linear combination, effective overlapping. So remember here, in case of molecular orbital theory, number of atomic orbitals involved is equal to number of molecular orbitals. Number of molecular orbitals. This is important assumption. Suppose two atomic orbitals are there. Formation of two molecular orbitals. Yani, suppose this is one atomic orbital and this is another atomic orbital. Linear combination of these two. Suppose your linear combination of these two. How many atomic orbitals? I have taken two atomic orbitals. And when linear combination of these two atomic orbitals would result in two molecular orbitals. And remember, one will be bonding molecular orbital and second one is anti-bonding molecular orbital. This is the bonding molecular orbital. And this is anti-bonding molecular orbital. Remember, the symbol of anti-bonding molecular orbital is asterisk and star. Star indicates anti-bonding molecular orbital. Suppose three atomic orbitals are there. Here, linear combination of three atomic orbitals, it would result in three molecular orbitals, but one will be non-bonding molecular orbital. And one is a bonding molecular orbital, another will be anti-bonding molecular orbital, and third one will be non-bonding molecular orbital. But remember, number of atomic orbitals equal to number of molecular orbitals. Linear combination of atomic orbitals gives bonding molecular orbital as well as anti-bonding molecular orbital. It depends on how many atomic orbitals are present in linear combination. Now, remember, when there is a positive overlapping, positive overlapping, and a positive overlap, here linear combination of atomic orbitals, we can say, would results in the formation of bonding molecular orbital. And a positive overlap, it gives bonding molecular orbital. Remember, actual bond formation will take place in bonding molecular orbital. There is no bond formation in anti-bonding molecular orbital or non-bonding molecular orbital. Actual bond formation will take place in bonding molecular orbital. For this, I will take atom A and atom B. Here, atom A and atom B. When it combines together, suppose it gives AB. Remember, we have to consider wave nature of an atom, not particle nature here. Here we have to consider wave nature of atom. So we can write, here it is AB molecule. So psi AB is equal to theta A plus theta B. Theta A plus theta B. Here terminologies are psi AB. Psi AB is equal to wave function of molecule AB. This is molecule. Psi function of molecule AB. Remember, molecular orbital, yani we can say that molecular orbital is associated with whole molecule. This is important assumption of MOT. Is it? Theta A is the wave function of isolated atom A. Theta B, wave function of isolated atom B. Yani here, what is sign of this theta A? It is positive. So here it is a positive, positive. So this overlap, this linear combination is said to be positive, positive overlap. And remember, when there is a positive, positive overlap, formation of what? Bonding molecular orbital. Here it is like this. Suppose this is equation number 1. I will square of this equation. Here positive wave function. This theta n a wave function of A, theta b n a wave function of B. Suppose this is wave function of A. Here it is positive. Second will be wave function of B. Again I have taken here a positive because sign of this theta b is positive. Here it is positive. This is positive, positive overlapping. This is atom B. Linear combination of these two. It would result in what? This one. And this is AB. This is the wave function of AB. This is the wave function of AB. And this is the molecular orbital. And this molecular orbital is said to be bonding molecular orbital. BMO and a bonding molecular orbital. And a positive, positive overlapping. When sign of wave function is same, there is an addition of waves. Isn't it? In short, here we can write when sign of wave function, when the sign of wave function is the same, here when the sign of wave function is the same, then addition of waves, here sign is same, that is why addition. And we have taken that equation, that is psi AB is equal to theta A plus theta B. Now make square of this equation. Square of this, psi square AB is equal to theta square A plus theta square B plus 2 into theta A theta B. So these are important terminologies. This equation is very important. See here, psi square AB, this psi square AB indicates electron density in a molecule AB. In a molecule AB. What is theta square A? Here theta square A indicates electron density in an isolated atom A. What is this theta square B? Electron density in an isolated atom B. Addition of these two. See here, electron density in molecule. This term indicates electron density in molecule. It is very much greater than that of what? Addition of these two by 2 theta A theta B. Yani here psi square AB is greater than, very much greater than what? Theta A square plus theta B square. By what is the difference? Here 2 theta A theta B. So remember, when there is a positive overlap, here formation of bonding molecular orbital. Another, when there is a positive negative overlap, what will happen? You know, doubt about this? Here Another way of linear combination of atomic orbitals, positive negative overlap. Positive negative overlap. That is a linear combination of atomic orbitals. And a positive wave function of atom A and a negative wave function of atom B. Diagrammatic representation, here it is a plus atom A and here atom B negative. There is subtraction. When positive wave function of atom A and negative wave function of atom B, then definitely there is subtraction and here formation of molecular orbital like this. This is also molecular orbital, but actual bond formation is not there. So this is said to be what? AB star. This is atom A, this is atom B, linear combination of these two. There is subtraction. Yet what is conclusion? When sign of wave function is opposite or different, there is a subtraction of waves. There is a subtraction of waves. There is a subtraction of waves, that is formation of anti-bonding molecular orbital. This star indicates anti-bonding molecular orbital. Same, we can write psi AB star is equal to theta A minus theta B. Here plus and here minus, and a positive negative overlap. Make square of this. It will be psi star square AB is equal to theta A square plus theta B square minus 2 theta A theta B. And when we will get psi square AB after subtraction of 2 theta A theta B from theta A square and theta B square. Yani from this relation we can write psi square star AB is less than that of theta A square plus theta B square by 2 theta A theta B. And there is a subtraction and there is no electron or less electron density. Instead of no, there is a less electron density in case of anti-bonding molecular orbital. So here, when sign of wave function is a different, formation of anti-bonding molecular orbital. When the sign of wave function is the same, then addition of waves and a formation of bonding molecular orbital. If we compare energy of bonding molecular orbital and anti-bonding molecular orbital, remember, energy of bonding molecular orbital is less. Energy of bonding molecular orbital is less. See here. Suppose this is the molecular energy level diagram. Molecular energy level diagram. I will take simple example, hydrogen, H2. H2 is a diatomic. Structure H, single bond H. Electronic configuration of this, it is 1s1. Here also it is 1s1. And one electron is there. So here I will take atomic orbital, here also atomic orbital of second hydrogen. Here it is 1s1. Here also it is 1s1. And these two are atomic orbitals. This is atomic orbital of first hydrogen, this is atomic orbital of second hydrogen. Now linear combination of these two. Here energy and symmetry exactly same. Energy of this 1s1 and energy of this 1s same, symmetry is same. This is a favorable condition for a linear combination of atomic orbitals. So after a linear combination of atomic orbitals, for simultaneously it gives bonding molecular orbital as well as anti-bonding molecular orbital. So here it gives bonding molecular orbital. We know that S atomic orbital gives only sigma bond, so that is why this is known as sigma 1s. Simultaneously here formation of anti-bonding molecular orbital. Yani this will be sigma star 1s. Sigma star 1s. Total number of electrons available 2. Remember, this is a similarity. Atomic orbitals can accommodate any atomic orbital can accommodate maximum 2 electrons. Exactly same in case of molecular orbital theory. About molecular orbital, any molecular orbital can accommodate only 2 electrons, and a capacity of molecular orbital also 2. So here both electrons will enter in bonding. This is the bonding molecular orbital. This is anti-bonding molecular orbital, because energy of bonding molecular orbital decreases and energy of anti-bonding molecular orbital increases. So here both electrons will enter in BMO. Now anti-bonding is empty. We know that less electron density compared to what bonding molecular orbital. Actual bond formation takes place here. And from this we can calculate bond order. What is that bond order? Bond order is equal to what? NB minus NA divided by 2. What is NB? Number of bonding molecular orbital electrons. What is NA? Number of anti-bonding molecular orbital electrons. So what is NB here? Here 2 electrons are there, and a bond order is equal to 2 minus, here it is 0, divided by 2, and it is 1. That is why single bond is there. This indicates bond order in hydrogen is 1. Whether paramagnetic or diamagnetic, electrons are paired, so hydrogen is a diamagnetic. So here formation of bonding molecular orbital and anti-bonding molecular orbital simultaneously, isn't it? When there is a linear combination of atomic orbitals, remember atomic orbitals loses their identity. And an atomic orbital here, atomic orbital loses its identity. Atomic orbital loses its identity when there is a linear combination of atomic orbitals, isn't it? So this theory is said to be molecular orbital theory. There is a linear combination of atomic orbitals. Positive overlap equals bonding molecular orbital. Positive negative overlap equals anti-bonding molecular orbital. Energy of bonding molecular orbital decreases. Energy of anti-bonding molecular orbital increases. Actual bond formation takes place in bonding molecular orbital. Here there is a formation of bonding molecular orbital. Actual bond takes place here. So energy of bonding molecular orbital decreases and energy of anti-bonding molecular orbital increases. If we compare stability, bonding molecular orbital is more stable than anti-bonding molecular orbital. So stability of molecular orbital depends on what? Energy. And we can write stability is inversely proportional to potential energy. Is inversely proportional to potential energy. Remember, stability is directly proportional to bond order. It is directly proportional to bond order. In case of hydrogen, bond order is 1. If we take nitrogen, bond order is 3. And nitrogen is more stable than hydrogen because here bond order is 3, 1, 2, 3. In case of hydrogen, bond order is 1. So nitrogen is more stable than hydrogen. Next relation, bond length. Bond length is inversely proportional to bond order. And as the bond order increases, bond length decreases. Isn't it? So potential energy of bonding molecular orbital decreases while potential energy of anti-bonding molecular orbital increases. Bonding molecular orbital is more stable than anti-bonding molecular orbital. Stability of molecular orbital is inversely proportional to potential energy. As the potential energy decreases, stability increases and vice versa. Stability of molecular orbital, stability of molecule is directly proportional to bond order. As the bond order increases, stability also increases. Bond length is inversely proportional to bond order, and as the bond order increases, and a distance between two nuclei decreases, and a bond length decreases, and vice versa. So this is about molecular orbital theory. Here, once again, assumptions of molecular orbital theory. These are the assumptions of molecular orbital theory, isn't it?